And welcome to Hero Power. This is episode 70, and we have a great special show for you tonight. I am your host, Avantes, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Zeroshio.
What is up, gang?
And Versika.
What's up, guys?
And as I said, we've got such a special guest tonight, the 2017 NA Winter Champion, DrJikininki. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How's it going, guys? So glad to be on the show. So glad y'all gonna have me out.
Oh, man, it's awesome to have you. We've been talking about this show for a week and a half now since we found out you were going to be able to make it. We've been so stoked about it. It's just not even been funny, but
it is our pleasure.
Yes. Yeah, we were talking pre-show. You know, we've had a couple of top four finishers from prelims and playoffs. You are, in fact, our first champion on the show, so congratulations. And
Thank you.
Before we jump right into our interview with you, we have a couple of things we have to take care of contractually. So, Versika, tell us a little bit about our sponsors at ViForce.
Contractually? That sounds disease-ish. No, seriously. It's actually always a pleasure to talk about ViForce. I'm now rocking my third month with my ViForce machine. It's still going strong. In fact, I was talking to one of the guys at work today who was thinking about getting a laptop. And I was just like, yeah. I was like, if you want to take your games on the go, that's fine. I was like, but nothing beats having a good, sturdy desktop at home where you can sit down and you kind of put your headphones on and lose yourself in whatever game that you're wanting to play. He's just like, yeah, he goes, I know. He goes, but all those gaming laptops cost too much. And so I took him over to the computer. I took him to ViForce, and I showed him. And then I told him about what I bought and kind of broke down, the process through which I said what my budget was, told them what I needed, and then they helped me figure out exactly what I needed. And he's a little bit computer illiterate, so I was walking him through and explaining some of the things that I'm just like, and you know what the greatest part about this is, and it's something that I know we touch on, but I don't know that we focus on near enough, and that is you can email the guys at ViForce, tell them what you need, and they will come back and explain to you what you need, why you need it, and give you options along the way. It's like having your own personal tech support right there with you as you're making your computer purchase. And we'll talk a little bit more about that level of customer service when we move from the audio to the video portion.
Absolutely. So real quick, we do have a couple of emails and iTunes reviews we need to take care of. Email from Dave referring to our show last week. He says, speaking of Alakir, I burgled him and won a game by double cold-blooding him. It was awesome.
That is amazing. I actually saw a streamer the other day call out that he's going to get Alakir off of his forbidden shaping to win the game. So it's awesome when you can get an unexpected win.
That's right. And then our iTunes review this week is 5 stars from Ignatius HS. Subject is awesome vibe, good personality. Found my way over to Hero Power this weekend, and I'm loving the show. Great personalities, they work well together, and a really great pace. That's a great addition to my weekly podcast lineup. Thank you, Ignatius HS. We greatly appreciate it. And thanks to everybody who's left us an iTunes review. And if you've thought about it, just go over there, search for Hero Power, leave us a review. It's that easy. We love to hear from you guys out in the community.
And as Boyd says in chat, I don't have to eat my beard this week.
That's right.
You were getting close.
I mean,
we were seriously getting close to plating that thing up.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get to the reason everybody is here. Not for Zeroshio's beard.
Oh, come on now.
I think it's a good reason to be here.
But as the kids say these days, the champ is here. So Let's
The
get
doctor's
right.
in.
That's right. The doctor
doctor's
is
in.
in the house. I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Doctor is in.
So we are going to start with a couple of easy questions before we get to the hard stuff. When did you get into Hearthstone, and who introduced you to the game?
So my younger brother introduced me into the game. I think it was in either the beta phases or it was right after beta had been announced or like released. I didn't start getting competitively into the game until Blackrock Mountain had come out, and by that time I kind of buckled down and said, "Hey, I want to get into this game competitively," because I had played other card games in the past, and I wanted to make this my main competitive game. So I decided, hey, I need to invest money into cards. I need to make sure I have all these cards. And it was right around Blackrock Mountain time. And then I started playing more and more open cups around Whispers of the Old God. So it's been fairly recently, but not too far off.
Okay, that's cool. One of our patrons, we had actually asked a lot of our patrons to submit questions for you. And one of our patrons asked, since you're playing for VCU in the TESPA series, have you thought about whether you're going to pursue a career in Hearthstone, or are you going to keep up your studies and look to get a job in your field after you graduate?
I definitely think trying to pursue a career in Hearthstone is definitely a possibility in my near future. The only issue with that is it's really like the 1% of people that actually get the chance to do that, and it's really hard for them to do that. So I need to take what I've been given and use it to my advantage and try and push my name out there, and maybe it becomes something. But if not, I need to have something to fall back on. So I definitely will have like my degree in biology to fall back on just in case something doesn't go as planned.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Are you thinking about teaching, or are you looking to do something else in the field?
It was originally pharmacy, but now it's kind of shifted to, I'm not sure, something maybe in the environmental fields, but something just scientific with biology.
Awesome. All right. So we talked about this a little bit pre-show as well. During your post-win interview with the guys out there at HCT, they talked about your name, which obviously, your name was the talk of the weekend, mostly because nobody could pronounce it. And
We were loving listening, Cora. She was determined to get it.
Yes. And I think she's finally got it down. I've listened to her. I actually watched the TESPA stream last night. She was casting it as well. And so why don't you, for those who might have missed the post interview, why don't you go ahead and tell them a little bit about the origin of your name?
Oh gosh. All right. So here's the real in-depth origin that you didn't get to hear on the post interview. But so I'd played other games competitively. So I'd played like first-person shooters, and there was this one called Crossfire, I think it was what it was called. I can't remember. It was a first-person shooter, and I decided to look into fun and cool names. And I've always been a geek for like folklore and like stuff like that. And so when I was looking into folklore, I was looking at Japanese folklore, but apparently it was like Japanese Buddhism. And it came up with this name DrJikininki, and J is my favorite letter because my name's Jace. And J is my favorite letter. And I was like, this name is just so cool. And I, at the time, was aspiring to be a doctor, so it just kind of fit that I put the doctor tag on it. And so DrJikininki actually means, it is a corpse-eating ghost in Japanese Buddhism referred to as a Wendigo. So that is what it is.
So cool.
There you go. Hero Power exclusive. You did not get that at the end of HCT. So.
That's right.
All right. So let's, Zeroshio, do you have a question for the good doctor?
Yes, I do. And this is a very important question to me because obviously you're going to be going to the Bahamas. You're going to be the first North American champion to go to one of the wonderful resorts that Blizzard has lined up for you guys. I'm guessing you're pretty excited about that, right?
Oh, I'm extremely excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just looking forward to going out and having a vacation too, because I haven't been on a vacation in a good like 6 or 7 years. So it'll also be fun to do it.
So the big question I have is, you're going to Bahamas, so trunks or Speedos?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't quite have the body for Speedos, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick to... I might do some 3-inch seam trunks. Don't worry about it. We'll show off some legs.
There
Awesome.
you go.
Awesome.
All right. So, since I think we broke Versika with that question, do you have a question ready for him, Versika?
I've got like 4, but we'll start with one.
There you go.
We have the NA champ on the show, and we ask about his swim trophy.
Hey, the hard-hitting questions. That's
It's a
what I'm here
hard-hitting
for.
question. I needed to answer that one.
Okay, so I guess we'll start out mine fairly easy. I know your final match had to be pretty nerve-wracking, but prior to your final match, was there an opponent that you faced that just made you particularly nervous? Like anyone that just kind of you were worried about getting in your head?
I wasn't really worried about any of the opponents getting into my head. I was just more worried about my play and making sure that I played as optimally as I could. Because in the grand scheme of things, I feel like everybody who qualified for that event deserved to be there, and anyone could take it at any time. So you just kind of have to take your opponents and who they are with a grain of salt. But I did play some notable names. So I played VLPS, I played Zalay, I played Amnesiac, played Alan 807 0806. He's a really high legend player. I played Doc Pone twice. I played Watt twice, and then I played Teray, who's obviously just a monster at HCT.
Yeah, you definitely did not have an easy road to the championship.
I think out of everybody, you probably had, in my opinion, you had one of the toughest, if not the toughest.
It was
road.
definitely a tough road. It was definitely was.
Yeah. So, all right. My next question is as follows. As of yesterday, we have seen the nerfs to Small Time Buccaneer and Spirit Claws. What are your thoughts on how that is going to affect the meta going forward?
So my thoughts on those two nerfs are that I definitely think it makes Aggro Shaman. Aggro Shaman is their main target with these 2 hits, with the 2 hits with what they did. I think it makes Aggro Shaman a whole lot less viable. I think Aggro Shaman will still be a presence in the meta. They're just going to have to find substitutes for their 1-drops, and they probably may not play Spirit Claws because Buccaneer won't be needed, so they might even drop patches, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I think Pirate Warrior is still extremely strong. I don't think the nerf to Buccaneer did anything too major to that. Of course, it won't be. What it will do is it will decrease matchup percentages by about 5 to 6% in the matchups that they were extremely favored in. So, but they'll still be favored. So, for instance, Druid can kill a small-time Buccaneer if you're even playing small-time Buccaneer, but it won't affect the matchup so much to where you're unfavored now. You will still be favored in that matchup, which makes Pirate Warrior just extremely strong. Like, I think Pirate Warrior might end up being like one of the best classes after this.
Okay.
For decks.
Awesome. All right. So here's another one, just kind of off the cuff. They just recently announced 6 cards are going to be moving from Standard into the Hall of Fame. If you could choose a card or cards that you would like to see moved from Classic to the Hall of Fame, what would they be and why?
Oh gosh, I was not prepared for that one. I think the biggest culprit is obviously Gettin Auctioneer. I think Gettin Auctioneer is like a big culprit for a lot of like the crazy things that happens in Hearthstone. I think definitely that card was on their like chopping block for whatever reason. Other than that one, I think most of the classic set is fine. I think there's some merit for Ice Block and Alexstrasza, but I don't think they've been too out of hand recently to where they need to go. And I think they were kind of hitting the head on the nail with the picks they did. I wasn't a huge fan of all of them because I like cards like Ice Lance and Power Overwhelming, but I can understand why they did it because that's just Blizzard's mentality about these specific combo decks. But other than that, I think they kind of hit the head on the nail. I don't see any that I would like particularly want to see gone or moved because I think everybody has like all these cards have versatility in their own reason. So I think they hit the big powerhouses because with Rag and Sylvanas, every 8 and 6 drop they produce from now on out will have to be evaluated on the basis of would I play this over Rag? And now that we have that element of Rag being gone, it doesn't necessarily have to be will I play this over Rag. It's is this good enough to play as an 8 drop?
Okay. Okay.
I got a question.
Okay.
I have one more question. They recently made changes to breakpoints in the ranked ladder that you will, when you get to 20, 15, 10, 5, and of course Legend, you won't fall below that. But they didn't make any changes to how far you fall back at the start of a season. Do you find that as kind of a chore and having to start at, what is it, from Legend, rank 15? Is that something you enjoy to do, or is it something that you think they should fix?
It's definitely a chore. I definitely think it's something they need to fix. For instance, like last night I decided at like 3 a.m. I wasn't really tired. I was like, it's a new season. Let me go ahead and grind a little bit. I got to rank 10, just playing Pirate Warrior, and a lot of the opponents I could definitely tell weren't in tune with the game, and that might have been just because of the mix of players that are in between 16 and 10 at that rank, because some people are still playing. I definitely think it's just a big chore. Like, for instance, I'm ranked 9 right now, and I have like an 80% win rate with Pirate Warrior right now, and it's just like a chore to keep grinding these games out all the way to Legend. I don't even think the floors help that much. I think the floors are a step in the right direction. I do really wish Blizzard would set in something to where like certain placements may get you higher up, or just like there's less grinding, or maybe even win streaks in 5. Like, I don't know what they have to do, but I definitely feel like it's a huge grind, because in order for me to get Legend soon, I'm just gonna have to grind out games over and over. So,
Okay, Versika.
All right. So I kind of warned you a little bit about this one in the pre-show. One of my favorite cards in Hearthstone has been Beneath the Grounds. And I love that you teched it into your aggro rogue, specifically for the Reno matchup. But your lineup just included 1 copy. A lot of the lineups felt that 2 copies were needed to make sure that they drew it before the Reno turn. Why did you choose to just put 1 in yours? Was it because of the other matchups, or was it because you just weren't particularly scared of the Reno decks with the nature of your aggro rogue?
So I think the biggest issue with Beneath the Grounds, I was debating for a while to keep. It was I was looking at lists like Santolo's and then Muzzy's original list that they were playing in either the EU region or what they were playing beforehand. And I looked at their list and I saw the one Beneath the Grounds, and I thought it was a great option to have in the deck. I think the most lists that were playing 2 were the Miracle Rogue versions that can afford to play 2, because if they're playing against a Reno deck, like, they don't have to worry about their board and their curve. With the aggro decks, I have to worry about board and curve the entire game. So if I dedicate 2 slots of my deck to double Beneath the Grounds, it becomes an issue of how inconsistent I start to make my deck. Because a lot of times, for instance, the reason I brought aggro rogue was because it can contest Pirate Warrior, and I can actually beat Pirate Warrior. And if I have double Beneath the Grounds in the deck, it's just 2 dead cards against Pirate Warrior. I didn't want to sacrifice 2 dead cards when all I really need is 1 Beneath the Grounds.
Okay. All right. My next question is, do you have any mentors or players that you looked to for advice when it came to strategy or to assist with deck building?
I don't necessarily say if they're mentors, but like, I do watch a lot of the pro scene. I do keep up with that a lot. I do have a decent amount of people on my friends list who are willing to help out. There's 2 players in particular that helped me out probably the most in the lineup, and that was Ninja, who has been my practice partner for a while now, and then a guy named Cap9, who is a really good player, and he gave me the inspiration to drop. I was originally going to play the Tempo Mage lineup, the full aggro, and then he gave me the inspiration to drop the Tempo Mage for Reno Lock, so that's what I decided to do. So it was mostly those 2 players, and of course there are other players who I either play with or are friends with that help me out.
Okay. All right.
Speaking of the Reno Lock, you were one of the players that teched in the Curse of Reform specifically for the Reno Mage lineup. Now, when I was looking over your list, I was looking to see what you took out to take in the Curse of Reform from what I guess what I see is the typical Reno Lock, and the only card that I could really see that was missing was Shadow Flame. And do you think Shadow Flame is just too slow in this meta, or was it just you needed to take something out and Shadow Flame just happened to fall in the right spot?
I think most of the cards I had taken out, it was like the taunts, the heals. I didn't play Jiraxis. Like, I was playing less of like the big heavy taunts, like Faceless Shambler. I wasn't playing that. I wasn't playing Jiraxis. I wasn't playing like the early load, like 1/3 taunt Voidwalker. Shadow Flame I definitely took out because I felt like Shadow Flame was kind of useless. I didn't really like the card all that much, and I was also running Fellfire, so it kind of seemed counterintuitive to have Hellfire, Shadow Flame, and Fellfire all in the same deck. And Shadow Flame is only really good, in my opinion, it's only really good against like the Reno Lock mirror, where you can like get a Jiraxis down, get the 6/6, Shadow Flame the 6/6. Because if you're playing against, for like instance, let's say Pirate Warrior, and you drop a, you have to first of all go coin Twilight Drake, play it, live through that turn, and then Shadow Flame it just to clear their board of pirates. And then by that time, they're just equipping weapons and killing you. So I felt like it could have been better as a different card. And if it was going to be a dead card against Pirate Warrior, I wanted it to be better against Mage.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good.
I did have one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
You talked about that you're a biology student. You're obviously competing. You said you're competing in test ball right now for VCU. You obviously just came off of winning NA Winter Championships. I'm sure you're doing ladder grinds. You're doing opens to try to keep up your HCT points and whatnot. During all that time, do you find any time to get any exercise? Because I know gaming is a very sedentary kind of job when you're doing the pro gaming. What kind of regimen do you have to make sure your sleep schedule is right, your eating schedule, and your exercise is correct?
That's a really hard question because first of all, I don't exercise that much, so I haven't been able to I used to play soccer a lot in high school, and that kept me kind of fit. But recently, ever since I went to college, I kind of dropped that, so I've gained a fair bit of weight. But it's not anything unhealthy. It's just from not having that physical exercise every day. I mean, walking around campus is a lot of it just because I have to commute, so I get there, I walk around. It's like I don't really have a regimen for exercise, and then my sleep schedule for the pre-playoffs was extremely whack. It was really bad. Like, I think the day of deck list submitting, I was up till 4 or 3, trying to finalize the lineup and making sure I liked everything. So my sleep schedule is still kind of messed up a bit. I have plans for the future to do stuff like that, but definitely right now there's not really any regimen set in stone.
Yeah, I know, and especially with a lot of the collegiate TESPA players, that's usually a big concern. They want to make sure that they're not just their minds ready for competition at that level in Hearthstone, but also their body's not causing any kind of suffrage during that heavy training.
No, I definitely
that you're doing
can agree
sitting
with
at
that.
the computer.
I typically try to eat as healthy as possible. So I eat fairly healthy. Then again, there's always just good fast food out there, so it's hard not to be perfect. But I try to eat as healthy as possible, drink water, make sure I'm hydrated, and then just try and exercise my brain muscles as much as possible. So
Awesome.
All right, so my next question is, we talked briefly about how you're going to the Bahamas, and that's so awesome and exciting. So we've now seen the 4 from APAC and the 4 from Europe that are going to be joining you guys out there. Is there a particular player you're looking forward to competing against specifically, or are you just excited to go and play? Is there a Blizzard employee or a caster that you're hoping to get to meet while you're there?
Player base, I'm excited to kind of the biggest rivals, obviously, or the biggest names there are probably going to be people like Omega Zero and Pavel, who are just monsters in their scene. They're just absolute domination, and then the whole Chinese roster is just insane. They've got a monster roster. APAC I don't know too much about, but I've heard their names before. I definitely respect all the competitors in the game because you have to have respect for them. They got there for a reason. Other than that, I'm really excited to meet everyone, have the whole experience. I'm excited to meet all the casters, just because it's crazy to see them cast everything you've dreamed of, and then you actually get there and meet them and actually get to say hi to them in person, which is actually really crazy. So I'm excited to do all of that.
Okay, awesome. Versika, do you have another question, or are you done?
No, I actually channeled my inner Zerotio and came up with one more.
All right.
So you're headed to the Bahamas, but what everyone in our chat really wants to know is, are you a fan of the water package?
Oh, the water package is so much fun. I love the water package. I was playing it in a Rogue earlier. I think the last couple of days of the season I was playing in a Rogue, and it is definitely a lot of fun. I think the water package is actually insane, and might just lead to some crazy things in the future. I think it might be the next thing everyone Reddit complains about, but I'm not sure yet. So we'll see where it takes it.
I would love to see your water rogue package.
The rogue. Oh, I'm sorry. The rogue that I was playing was a friend of mine, Dwayna, 27, and he got rank 1 legend with it. And it was Curator Aggro Rogue, and it played the water package. It played Jungle Panther. It played Stranglethorn Tiger. It was really insane.
That brings up an interesting question for me: is if Small Time Buccaneer wasn't what it was, and maybe they didn't release it at all, do you think the meta would have been dominated with something like the water package instead of the pirate package?
I think partly the reason the water package came into be was because of that. For instance, the water package is super strong against the aggro decks, and if you ever connect a Finja hit onto anything in an aggro deck, you just take board back for them, which is insane. So I think partly the reason Finja was so good was because of that aggro package, but I do think that the Buccaneer was just so powerful that sometimes it didn't matter. Buccaneer is just a stupid card. Buccaneer and Patches living together was just unhealthy, but it was. I mean, I respect it though because they're both insane cards.
Yeah, and yeah, so I agree. One of our patrons actually sent in a question that read, "What's your favorite card from Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, and why is it Finja?"
Why is it Finja? That's funny. Finja and A of Black Par are my two favorites. Those cards are nuts. I love them.
Yeah, they are a lot of fun.
Why is it Finja?
So, I'm going to go a little bit off topic here. One of our patrons had asked a question that I thought was kind of interesting. With the recent announcement that Life Coach is stepping away from Hearthstone to play Gwent, have you ever tried or played any other digital CCGs? And if so, do you have a favorite other than Hearthstone?
No, I have not actually played any other. I played traditional card games, so the only other games I played were like Yu-Gi-Oh! I delved into Magic the Gathering a little bit, even Pokemon. But mostly it was just Hearthstone for the online card games. And I haven't delved into Gwent or Shadowverse or any of them, and I don't really care to. I'm not a huge fan of them. I've already fallen in love with Hearthstone. I don't really want to quit it, even though I know some things are like there's gonna be something wrong with everything. So I think I think Blizzard knows what they're doing. I think they'll start to fix stuff and it'll be fine. So I have faith in Blizzard. So I'm just gonna stick with Hearthstone.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Good answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And we're all former Magic the Gathering players. Between the three of us, we have over 60 years of Magic the Gathering experience.
Played it for a long time.
Very long time.
All right. So, last question I have for you is from one of our patrons. It's like, what is the furthest you've ever traveled to compete in a competitive Hearthstone event? And do you have any memorable stories from being on the road?
For competitive Hearthstone, the Fairfax Cave. I've not traveled that far for Hearthstone. My biggest tournament I've ever competed in was the Winter Prelims.
Okay.
Besides like rather open cups like the Onog Opens, I plan to go to PAX East. That's in my plan. Try and do PAX East.
Mm-hmm.
Also the Dream Hacks, and then PAX South by Southwest, I think it is. I plan to go on to those. Hopefully. But other than that, no, not recently. If it was for another card game, for Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance, I traveled to Dallas, Texas to compete. That was the furthest I went. I went to Dallas, went to Charleston, went to Columbus, Ohio. I went around like the East Coast, and it's just a lot of fun hanging out with guys, meeting new people. For instance, like when I went to the Fairfax for the prelims this like couple weekends ago. I got to meet Ray C, who's one of the coolest guys in the community, and it was awesome to get to talk to him and hang out with him. And I had a lot of fun doing that. So even if I didn't win, or even if I didn't make top four, I think I would have had a great time. Just winning and making top four made it just that much better.
That's awesome. Yeah, we are actually all going to DreamHack Atlanta as well. So hope to see you there. And if
That'd
we
be
do,
awesome.
I'll buy you a drink.
I'm not of age, so it'll be hard to get
It doesn't have to. I said a drink. It could be a Coke.
All right. A water. There we go.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that does it, I think, for all of my questions. Do you guys have any last minute things you want to ask him before we move on to the news? Because
I'm good.
Do we have news this week?
We do.
So on Monday, Blizzard dropped a announcement video on us with the name of the new expansion, Journey to Ungoro. So if you've watched the show the last few weeks, we've talked about how we expected it, to come pretty soon, and it was much sooner than we expected.
Oh yeah.
They kind of gave us a interesting little. It was Jason Chase and Ben Brode sitting in the woods with their, Ben had his axe. It was a great, funny video and a great way to present the new expansion. So they announced we're getting new legendary spell called a quest, which is going to be something that is a 1 mana, starts in your opening hand, and as you progress through the game, you can complete the quest for a massive reward. While we have the good doctor on, what are your thoughts on how you think this is going to affect play? Because there's been a lot of mixed reviews from the community that this is taking up a slot in your opening hand. So you'll draw this plus, 2 cards if you go first, or this and 3 cards if you go second. But the one we've seen so far says that, if you complete it, you get this 8/8 creature for 5 that sets your health to 40. So that's a pretty massive reward. What are your thoughts on them introducing quests?
So I think the quest aspect, I think it's cool that they're adding a new mechanic. I think the way the quest works, just to clarify, is it will be presented in your mulligan, and you actually have the option of putting it back in the deck. So you don't necessarily have to keep it in your opening hand, but I would advise keeping a 1 mana quest if you're trying to build your deck around it in your opening hand to try and accomplish that quest. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's an interesting idea. I don't know how good it will be, because obviously it seems insane when you're like, oh, a 5 mana 8/8 with taunt that sets my hero to 40. Like, that's just crazy. But you have to think about during the course of the game what's going to happen. So, for instance, let's just put the priest player on the play. So the priest player is going to be on the play. They're going to draw their cards. They're going to get the quest. They're going to play the quest turn 1. Let's say they're playing against an aggro deck. The aggro deck plays their minion turn 1. It's going to be hard for you to get 8 Death Rattle minions out through the course of the game. I think it's 7, actually. 7 Death Rattle minions out through the course of the game. And by the time you finally get it, it might just not... You might either be dead, or you've tried to answer the board too often that it won't be a thing. So it'll probably be most general and control matchups, which will be insane. And another thing you have to consider is when you have this card in your hand, you're making your 3 or 4, however many card hand, even weaker, because it's not a card you would want against an aggro deck. So I think it'll add an interesting dynamic to the game. The one thing I will say, though, is I wish the future quests add more counterplay. So, for instance, I hope it's stuff you can play around, because I can't play around my opponent playing Death Rattle minions, but I could play around other things. I'm not quite sure what. And then just to get a meme in here real quick, because I love what people have been suggesting for the Shaman quest. And the Shaman quest is deal 30 damage to your opponent, and the reward is you win the game. So I think that's a great quest for Shaman.
I've been hacking since beta and doing that ever since then. Completed that quest many times. All right. Zeroshio, do you or Versika have anything you want to add about quests?
Oh, I am excited for them. I really want to see what kind of quests they give to, say, like Druid, Paladin, and Hunter, because those are the classes that I think could really use some diversity in their play styles, and I think the quest would be really neat. I'm hoping they don't pigeonhole them into something like an aggro style or a specific style. So far from what I've seen from the Priest quest, yes, it's probably more control-y, but we haven't seen the cards yet. You might be able to do a mid-range Death Rattle deck that might actually work well with the quest. Okay.
Versika?
I'm reserving judgment. I'm kind of with Dr. J on this. I think, especially against the aggro mechanic, I just think the quest is going to be too slow. At least the one that we've seen. And I'd like to think that they're going to be pretty consistent across the classes as far as the amount of time that they would take to complete, as to not give any one class a decided advantage. So with that, if you go off that assumption, and it's an assumption, then there has to be something in this set that allows you to better manage early game aggro than what we currently have. So until we find out more cards in the set, until we really get a broad sense of what Blizzard wants to do with the overall tempo of the game, I don't really feel like I can say yay or nay on the quest until I guess we get a little more information.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then, because the other big thing they announced is a new keyword called adapt. So basically, when you play a minion that has Battlecry adapt, you'll be presented with 3 of possible 10 choices to enhance that minion. From what we've seen is you'll get things like you can grant Divine Shield, or you can grant +3 attack, or Wind Fury. These are all going to be completely random when you play the minion. It almost feels like a discover mechanic to boost that minion and make it even better. Dr. DrJikininki, what do you think of the adapt mechanic as we've seen thus far?
So what I like about the adapt mechanic from what I've seen so far is the fact that it does add diversity to the game. So that's why I also like Discover. I think a lot of people like that is you're given options, and whenever you're given options, it makes your decision branches harder, it makes your decision branches more complex. So it actually rewards better play and it punishes worse play. So I'm really excited to have this adapt mechanic, because if you adapt into the wrong, let's say, ability, or you adapt into the wrong thing at the wrong time, you could actually get punished for it. Whereas if you know what you're playing against, you know your opponent's, I guess, play style in a way, and you know exactly what you want for every situation, you'll get rewarded more. So I'm glad they added adapt. It really seems like it introduces branching play into the game, which is what I thought Hearthstone always needed. I thought Hearthstone was a little bit too simple, and I've wanted it to be a little bit more complex. So I don't know how much complexity this adds, but it definitely adds a new level that I'm excited to see.
Okay, awesome. Versika, your thoughts on adapt?
I like adapt. I really like I'm going to like it better if we see more adapt in those first 5 mana slots, allowing players to really be able to still play a bulk of a concept that they like, but allow them to put those adapt style minions in the game early, so that they can adapt to whether they're playing like a control style deck or whether they're playing against an aggro deck. They can use that taunt, or it can be a Wind Fury if they want a little more aggression. And I feel like that mechanic is going to be really useful early, and then as the game goes on, I feel like it will lose impact. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to make for some great. I think it's going to make for some great early and mid game play if they really concentrate on it early. So I'm excited. I think it's a neat mechanic, and I hope that it doesn't fall away like Inspire did.
Okay, Zoroshio, thoughts?
I think adapt is going to be tremendously wonderful in an OP in Arena, because basically you can pick an adapt minion and have a very flexible minion that can kind of chameleon adapt to whatever the current situation is. If you need a taunt, if you need a big attack minion, if you need something that can't be targeted by spells or hero power, that flexibility is in there, and it's going to shine in Arena. I think it'll go in some decks in Constructed, but I think honestly in Constructed you want more solid effects. You want to kind of build yourself around a certain effect, so you probably won't see it as big unless the stats really are worth the addition of the adapt mechanic.
Yeah. All right, so the only other thing they really mentioned during the release was that they are changing a lot of pre-existing minions and new minions to create a new tribe called Elementals, which we've had Elementals in the game for a while. Earth Elemental, Frost Elemental. Ragnaros has always technically been an Elemental Lord. Alakir is an Elemental Lord, but they're actually now finally going to be Elementals. And I know Versika was kind of excited for this when they mentioned it. I know he was talking about it in our patron Discord. What are you hoping to see, Versika, and we'll start with you this time. What are you hoping to see come out of the introduction of this new tribe of Elementals?
One of the things that I like the most about the shaman class in general, as far as their lore in the Warcraft universe, was that they were very in tune with the elemental forces around them and their strength. They drew their strength from the elemental forces. I feel like in Hearthstone, that message kind of got lost in the shuffle and became shaman was more about the totems and yeah, you had lava burst and yeah, you had lightning bolt, but until lightning storm, it kind of took off a little bit after Nax came out. But for the most part, it seemed like for shamans, it was all about just fire and lightning. I would like to see more of the water and earth side of shaman come out more. I don't want to say defensive, but I want to see the sturdiness of the earth, and I want to see the other powers of water that go with it, the restorative powers. Shaman's one of three sort of tertiary healing classes, and other than healing wave, we've really not seen a lot of shaman healing. So I would like to see a little bit more focus on making them more of a mid-range tempo style class that really shines in that middle game, and a nice combination of the four main elemental forces being used in conjunction with each other to really round out the class and be able to take it either early game aggro, mid game, and then late game control, and being able to do that all in the same cycle and all in the same class. I would like to see that diversity in all the classes, but Shaman's always been my favorite. That's where I'd like to see it start.
Okay. DrJikininki, what's your thoughts on the elemental tribe? How do you think it's going to affect the game?
So I come from big base I came from was Yu-Gi-Oh, and a lot of that was tribal based. So they're like most of the popular, most of the best decks were tribal based, and they were themed around a specific tribe, whether it be something in the in-game lore or something actually tribe like pirates, or I guess in this case it'd be like pirates, murlocs, mechs, and all that. I think adding an elemental tag doesn't really. It depends on what they print with it, right? Because if adding it, I can add a tag to anything, but if I don't print a card that affects that tag, it's not going to matter. So I think it depends on what they add to the elemental tag. But I do kind of like that they're adding a lore aspect to it, because a lot of these minions are elemental based. So I do think it's kind of cool to have that, because it'd be kind of weird not to have a pirate labeled a pirate. So I'm looking forward to having more tribes. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Zoratio, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this. This is one of my favorite things coming from this set. Obviously, a lot of people were questioning, are they gonna bring out more dragons, because Blackrock Mountain is phasing out of standard. So without Blackrock Mountain, you lose a bulk of your dragons and your strong dragons. I think this is a great way, instead of just keep cycling more and more cards into a specific tribe, maybe phase that tribal synergy out for the next one. And I think that's what Elemental is going to be. It's going to kind of replace the big dragon synergy decks. You're going to see the dragon decks kind of phase out and put the focus on additional classes that maybe didn't have so much tribe synergies, where with dragons you had dragon priest, you had your dragon paladin, you had a couple decks that were dragon based in warlock and a few other places, and now they could take these elementals, have them come out, give a good focus on tribal synergies for shaman, and maybe bleed those over into maybe druid and other classes, maybe hunter, to kind of have these elemental synergies. Now, I also believe that the Ragers, the horrible Ragers that have been coming out, were a preemptive plan for this. I think a lot of your synergies might be summoning elementals onto the board, random elementals, or into your hand. And yeah, you get a chance of getting Ragnaros Light Lord or Alakir, but you also get a chance of getting Magma Rager or Amgam Rager. So I think that was a very creative way to kind of fill in the gaps in this elemental, so that they don't have a situation like they did with the dragons, where they brought up Black Rock Mountain. There weren't that many dragons, and then it was almost like a trickle of dragon synergies. And now we have good dragon decks, but most of them are going away.
Yeah. All right, so that's pretty much all we got to see from the announcement video in the discussion for Journey to Ngoro. We are going to be getting more cards starting March the 17th. But one of the things the community noticed the most about this video was, unlike all of the other announcement videos that Blizzard has done, there was no musical, no catchy number, and guess what, guys? Reddit called them out on it. 5,000 people upvoted a thread saying, "Where's my music? Why don't we have any audio in this trailer?" And Ben Brode responded, guys, and it was glorious. I reached out to Ben today, got his permission to use the clip, and now allow me to present to you Ngoro, The Journey.
Hey there, don't be scared, my name is Ben Brode. I read a thread on Reddit and it said that I should sing an ode because our cinematic didn't have a song, nothing to bump your head to, nothing to sing along. Well, I don't know, I don't think that was wrong, but I went home anyway and wrote this song. Ngoro Crater is coming sooner than later. Elise is not gonna wait. Her scouts are aiming for haters. Yo, this land is dangerous. How can I explain this? Let me just say it's not famous for being painless. Even the plants won't give you half a chance. Pick up the wrong flower. Oops, there goes your hands. And that's not all, the elementals are calling. And if you put them all in, you gon' be ballin'. I see you look at it, don't be afraid of it. If Magma Rage is your favorite, it's time to savor it. Yo, the junior explorers heading to the forest, mapping it for us. Look out, dinosaurs about, everybody shouts as we head into the chorus. Journey to Ngoro. How did you convince me to do this? Journey to Ngoro. Whatever. If I had just one request, one thing you'd do at my behest, honestly, I think it would be the best if you would take a look at the legendary quests. Ooh, they cost 1 mana, and they start in your hand, and they enter play when you slam them. But be careful and plan them, because the rewards are huge, but only if your deck has a certain point of view, a thing you're trying to do. If you build it wrong, you take too long, you never get your question on. But that's fine, this set has a lot more. That's right, it's got a ton of dinosaurs. But these ain't your normal dinos, something is cracked. Energy from around the craters causing them to adapt. You want flaming claws, poisonous maws, shrouding mists, or lightning fists. Doesn't matter, soon you'll be splattered on the ground. Dinosaurs unhappy about newcomers in town. Journey to Ngoro. Okay, this was a mistake. Journey to Ngoro. I'm gonna turn this off before I get fired.
All right, let's try this again now that I don't have my mic muted. You gotta love Ben Brode. He answers to the people. Reddit calls, he answers. It was amazing. Everything we could have hoped for. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. All right. That's about does it for the audio portion. We have one more thing to do, and that is it's the first Wednesday of the month, so that means it's time for our patron giveaway. So if you guys aren't familiar, each month we give away a $20 Battle.net card to one of our patrons who donates $5 or more. If you do $10, you get 2 entries, $15, 3 entries, so on and so forth. We do have a lot of awesome advantages to being a patron. You get into our patron-only Discord server where usually you are the first to find out news about Hearthstone because our patrons are so awesome. And every quarter we have a quarterly patron-only Hearthstone tournament with cash prizes. So, great way to come hang out, have some fun, play some Hearthstone. But let's go ahead and draw our winner for this month. And that person is Jason Davis. Congratulations, sir. You are the winner of a $20 Battle.net gift card, and Versika will be in touch with you to give you that information in the next couple of days.
Cool. Congratulations.
All right. So I guess it's time to talk about the deck of the week. And this deck was brought to us by Dr. Jikininki himself. In fact, I think you played this deck yesterday in the TESPA series, didn't you?
Yeah, this is the deck I played yesterday in TESPA.
Yeah, I actually, like I said, I went back and watched that series today, and it was a lot of fun. So, I'm going to just give a quick rundown of the cards in the deck, and then I'll turn it over to you to talk about how to play it and what you're looking for and that kind of stuff. So, it's a Druid deck. It has 2 Innervates, 2 Moonfires, 2 Living Roots, 2 Raven Idols, 2 Wild Growth, 2 Wrath, 2 Feral Rage, 1 Mulch, Barnes, Fandral Staghelm, 2 Swap, 2 Azure Drake, 1 Burgly Bully, which I think is awesome, 2 Nourish, Emperor Thorison, 2 Gadget Zan Auctioneers, Aviana, Malygos, and Kuhn the Forgotten King. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the deck and basically just a little bit about how it plays.
Okay, so this is my favorite deck currently that the Mean Streets of Gadget Zan has produced, and this is my take on a version of Malygos, Kun, Aviana, OTK, and the whole premise of this deck is to not play an aggro deck, play against a greedy deck. And no, a big portion of this deck is you get the 1-turn kill against your opponent at 30 or even like 26 or just wherever they're at, and the whole combo revolves around you play Aviana, you refresh your mana crystals with Kun, you either play Auctioneer and Malygos or Auctioneer, whichever one, then you cycle through the rest of your deck and just kill them in 1 turn, and you either do that or you make a massive board. This list isn't obviously optimized, I just kind of put it together for TESPA when I realized that the nerfs were happening. So that made it as greedy as possible. That's why you see Burgly Bully and Emperor Tharzan. And that's why you see Barnes. Sometimes Barnes can just hit an Aviana and you just win the game. I've had it where it hits an Aviana and then I innervate out Tharzan and Malygos, and Aggro Shaman has no clue what to do against that. So, yeah, it's just pretty crazy. The whole premise of this deck is just to make it to the late game, ramp, and then Aviana Kun your way to victory. So you got to cocoon your way to victory. That's basically it.
Okay, awesome. Zero, you have anything you want to add about this deck?
No, I personally don't have Aviana or Kun the Forgotten King, and I've been wanting to really play this deck, so I'm excited to watch you play it, see it in the hands of an expert.
All right. Versika, you have anything you want to add?
Nope, I just I ran this deck a little while back, and I am anxious to see a pro pilot it because I'm sure that I mangled things when I did it. So it'd be good to see someone that actually knows what they're doing play it.
All right, so that's going to do it for our audio show tonight. If you guys are familiar, we do the show in 2 parts. So if you're watching live or on YouTube, you'll be able to watch our play portion. If you are listening to our audio podcast at this time, we'd like to thank you for joining us. We'd also like to thank Dr. Jikininki for joining us. Why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you if they want to follow you?
So you can follow me either on twitch.tv/DrJikininki, DrJikininki, or you can follow me at Twitter at twitter.com/DrJikininki. They're both the same handle. There's no underscore Hearthstone or anything. It's just my name. If you can manage to spell it, it should be on the screen. So hopefully that helps you out.
It'll also be in the show notes. I'll put links to both in the show notes. So also, if you want to, you can follow us on Twitter. It's at HeroPower_cast, and you can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers or on our website at heropowerhs.com. If you enjoy the show and you would like to help to support and improve it, or you would like to join our patron Discord or partake in our tournaments, you can do so at patreon.com/heropower. And as always, we'll see you again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
All right, so those of you still with us, give us just a minute to get everything set up. And Versika, tell us a little more about our sponsors at ViForce.
Well, I was talking earlier in the audio portion that I took one of my coworkers over and kind of walked them through what ViForce had on their website, but not only what ViForce had on their website, but kind of what he was looking to do with his computer. And like I said earlier, he was talking about a laptop. So I walked him through what he would need as far as programs to do what he wanted to do, and then what he would need as far as the hardware to back that software up. And he was astonished at how much he was going to have to spend as far as a laptop goes, just to be able to run the programs that he needed, much less the programs that he wanted. So one of the hazards when you buy a computer is a lot of times you can get sucked in by the things that everyone already knows about, and that's the processor, the RAM, what video card does it have in it, without really knowing how well this system is going to perform with the task that you need it to perform with. So you may not need a top-end video card. The video card that you may need for what you want, you may be able to do just fine with a couple steps down, but what you really need to do is upgrade the RAM from the base machine to run the programs that you need to run in the background. These are types of things that you need someone who isn't looking to just sell you a machine to talk to you about. These are the types of things that you need someone who wants to help make you a machine that is going to fit who you are and what you want to do. That's what you're going to get at ViForce. So you owe it to yourself to go to ViForceGaming.com. If you're not sure about what you want, hit the Contact Us page, shoot them an email, explain to them what you want to do, and tell them what your budget consists of, and they will get back with you and give you the lowdown on what you can use to get what you need out of your computer.
All right. Well, Dr. DrJikininki, if you are ready, you can queue up into the ladder or into casual, your choice. If you don't want to tank your 9 rankings so far.
Trust me, I'm not worried about it. We're going to win anyways. So.
There you go.
Yes, the spirit.
All right, we're queuing up now. Let's dodge every other class that isn't Warlock and Mage.
All right, that sounds good. All right. So we are spectating. Looks like our opponent it's a mirror match. We got a Druid.
So yeah, this is most likely Jade Druid.
Yeah. So opening hand is Aviana, Wrath, and Wild Growth. So what are we normally looking for on our mulligans with this deck?
So as a good Druid player, we want to always have Wild Growth in our opening hand, so we're already a good Druid player. One other thing we have to look back is we can put Aviana in the deck because we run Barnes. We have to wonder whether Wrath is going to get value in this matchup, and typically Wrath does not get value in this matchup. Because he's going to be ramping along with us, so we won't have any early game minion to destroy, so we'd rather have another card like Nourish or something. So I think we just keep the Wild Growth, and that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And so we've noticed that our opponent is full mulliganed, which most likely means that they did not have ramp or had a lot of late game cards in their hand. So we can Raven Idol this turn if we want to, but I don't think I'm going to because I don't have a follow-up on the previous turns. So I'm going to let the Raven Idol sit in my hand, and then I'm just going to play Wild Growth next turn.
Okay.
That is a lot of thought going into turn 1. I love it. I love seeing that kind of...
you have to have that kind of thought.
Yeah.
So our opponent is actually going to coin Wild Growth on his turn 1. And then we're going to...
Yeah, so...
Like you said, Wild Growth.
Yep. Let's keep the ramp going. We got to get the combos going now. I like using Raven Idol later on when I can really understand what my opponent is playing with and what I really need in this matchup. If I use it turn 1, I might just like pick a random card that I don't necessarily need later on, so it kind of like doesn't help out.
Okay.
All right, so this is a little awkward here.
Yeah, turn 3, he played Bran.
He also
Info
top
Bran.
decked the Bran. So we probably have to kill this because if we let Jade Spirits get out of the way, that's how we lose this game.
Mhm.
So I'd rather use this Wrath for draw. I'm thinking about swiping it right now, but I don't think swipe's optimal here. I have to understand what's going to happen later. Do I want this Wrath for draw? Swipe is so much cleaner. His next turn's a Jade Spear, which is a 2/3. I then play Azure Drake into it. I think that's fine. So I think I'm going to use a swipe here and get the Wrath for later.
Okay.
I think I really want this Wrath for draw. It's also more flexible if I get Azure Drake down next turn. Most likely he just goes Jade Spirit here unless he has an Innervate play.
And there's the Jade Spirit.
Good call. Very good call.
So now we can play Azure Drake into this, and he can't kill it without using extra resources or hero power. And on turn 5, he wants to play his own Azure Drake, which we can then Wrath. So we play the Azure Drake there. We pick up another Raven Idol, which is like meh. It's all right.
Mhm.
If we're looking for like Aviana Gadget Sand now, and we should be good to go. We might not actually Feral Rage the Azure Drake he plays here. I mean, I'm sorry, we may not Wrath it because I want this Wrath to draw. So what I might do is I might Feral Rage it. That's really good.
All right, so we top decked our second Wrath.
Yeah, so
And
what I
he
think I'm going to
did
do...
exactly what you expected him to by playing the Azure Drake.
Yeah. So what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to cycle these Wraths on the Azure Drake just to get further in my deck, and I'm going to clean up his board. Because the further I get into my deck, the further I get to my win condition. So by doing this cycling twice, I get further into my deck, I pick up Nourish. I also still have board against him, which means that he's going to have to kill this Azure Drake with something, and he can't really... His next best play this turn is, Jade Behemoth? Oh, he just concedes. Yep, that's game. I wasn't expecting to concede out of him. But,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
That's, I guess he figured he didn't want to Jade Behemoth into that.
Now, I have actually seen Force of Will on the open online circuits through Strivewire and whatnot. I'm wondering if he maybe knows the deck well enough and knows your name, of course.
So he probably had no clue what kind of druid I was playing because each druid plays the Azure Drake and they play the Wrath. So
Yeah.
he didn't really see anything that enabled like Kun combo. His hand just might have been abysmal, and he decided there's no way I'm winning this game by dropping a Jade Behemoth into a Azure Drake. So I might as well not waste my time and go to the next game.
Yeah,
That
I'll
very well
do
may not
another
have been
one.
the Force of Will.
Yeah.
It could have just been somebody with the same name.
our chat was just blown away just now by the lines of play you saw and the way you were calling everything your opponent was going to do. So that was just kind of awesome.
Yeah.
All right. This is looking like a good hand. I'm going to put back both Raven Idols because I want greedier cards, but keeping Barnes is just insane. I could keep one Raven Idol for the reason that if Barnes pulls out Gettin Sand Auctioneer, it gives me free draw.
Yeah.
I'm also going to couple the Barnes later with like Innervate, so I'm actually going to keep one Raven Idol and see how it goes, but I'm definitely keeping Barnes and Innervate. My
Okay.
opponent full mulled, which means they understand it's a Druid matchup. They're really looking for what's good against Druid. All right, so this is another turn. Ooh. No, that doesn't change anything up right now. We're just going to go ahead and pass.
Okay.
No reason to play this Raven Idol because I'm not sure what I want. This is going to be a slow matchup. It's the kind of matchup we want. All right. One thing to keep in track when you're playing Barnes in this deck is the fact that you run 11 minions, including the Barnes. There are 10 Barnes targets. The worst targets are Azure Drake and Kun. The best targets are like Aviana, Malygos. So that's a big consideration to keep. So my potential plays here are Innervate Barnes, see what I get. If I get like Aviana or something, it's insane. It also puts a lot of pressure on my opponent because if I get something big, they might not be able to answer it. But it's kind of a risk to take because I'm not sure what it can do. So what I might do this turn is coin, Innervate, Nourish. That way I can ramp to the mana and have potential plays later. I'll be on 5 mana, which lets me Azure Drake the following turn. His 3 mana play is really weak. He might just tap, so I think I like this play, and I think that's the play I'm going to go with.
Okay. I like it.
I also have draw in the form of Azure Drake, so I don't really need the Nourish to draw later on. So he most likely just taps this turn, looking for more answers. And then I just drop an Azure Drake on a free board. The worst case follow-up is if he were to go Twilight Drake or Mountain Giant, but I actually have Mulch for it, so it's actually going to be really good for me.
Okay.
And there's Malygos, so now I know 3
Nice.
targets for Barnes are gone, which makes Aviana a bigger possibility, which is really what I'm looking for. Okay, because Amicus.
Mm-hmm.
Zamicus is fine here. We're not really too worried about that. He probably takes he probably definitely takes a 5-mana potion. I don't think he'd take deal 4 at all. I think he'd just take deal 5. So now we have to establish what we want to do here. I think I want to get Barnes down this turn because I don't think he would take deal 4 AoE, and I might Raven Idol with it. If I get Fandral, it'd be good. If I get Gadget Stand, it draws me a card. If I get Aviana, I can just drop Malygos and Auctioneer and then Moonfire the 3/3, and I have such a massive board that he can't answer. So we're gonna drop Barnes first and see what we get.
Okay.
I did not get Aviana because my minions aren't green and highlighted, so I ended up getting Emperor Tharzan, which is also really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this discover a spell here just to kind of discount my hand because I want it discounted. We have to ask ourselves here what we want. All these are kind of bad. Claw is just 1 mana, and it'll become 0 mana to just draw a card, which I think is good, so I'm going to take the Claw.
Yeah. Also works as
I'm
a spell
gonna
you
take-
can cycle on the Auctioneer.
Yep, definitely. And I'm also going to take this trade here, just to make sure there's nothing on his board. That's kind of weak if he gets the resummon one, just for the fact that the resummon will resummon the 3/3, and I killed it for him. But yeah, it's kind of a risk I kind of like have to take.
He Demon Wraths.
All right, so we're looking at a really good spot here. This Gadget Sand's definitely going to put in work.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to do this turn fairly quicker because we want to make sure we get through our draws if we draw more cards. There's the second Auctioneer. I can mulch this 2/2 to burn a card, but I don't think that's worth it. I don't want to waste these Moonfires either, so I'm just going to Hero Power it down and kind of end my turn. Because I don't really want to waste resources I don't need to waste. Because if I get this Malygos down with 2 Moonfires, that might just be game ending.
Yeah, and now that you've drawn the second Gadget Zan, it's not as important to cycle this turn as much.
Yeah, exactly. So now there's risk associated with playing the Malygos here, so I think I'm going to hold off on the Malygos. That was actually a great pickup because it allows me to play this card, which just gets me further through my deck to try and find things. This is going to be a tough choice here. I have the option to clear off this 5/5 with the Moonfire and also play a Raven Idol. This is going to be a hard turn. I kind of want to save the Raven Idol for Gadget Sand Auctioneer. So I actually think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to Hero Power down this 1/2/1 and smack him in the face with a 3/2. I'm actually going to save the Raven Idol.
Okay.
Because I really want to draw these cards. Because the way I win this game is just by getting through my whole combo. And if I ever draw Kuhn and like Aviana, this is just game, set, match. Alright, so let's see what we draw here. Wild Growth is kind of bad because we're on 9 mana. So we're going to start this turn off by playing this and discovering a spell. So we draw a card and then discover something. So Burglary Bully's not bad. Another Moonfire is actually really good because... Yeah. That gives us, how much damage? 6, 12, 18. So if we hit him in the face once, that's just lethal next turn, and he won't expect it. So I think we're going to go ahead and take that. We're then going to Hero Power down the 5/1 and hit him in the face with the 3/2. He's going to be forced to clear my board, and if he doesn't, he loses the game if he doesn't Reno. So that's what we're going for right here. He's going to try and clear my board. I don't think I could die to anything. Yeah, and he's not going to Reno, so we just win the game. wait, does that affect it, actually?
Yeah, that puts him at
6, 12, 18. No, Hero Power is 19,
with Hero
so it doesn't
Power.
matter.
Yep.
Nice.
Wow. And just like that.
And that's the deck. That's why I love it. It's really good against these Reno decks. I didn't get to do the full combo. The full combo is so much more fun, but sometimes you just gotta take wins where you can get them.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's a win streak into 8. So, like I said, we're gonna win this game.
Yeah. This.
Well,
Go ahead.
normally we do best 2 out of 3, but since it's only 20 till 9, did you want to play one more and try to get the combo off?
You know what? Yeah, why not? Let's do one more. We'll try and get the combo off.
I honestly, when I was looking at this deck, I was like, man, this is going to be a lot of fun, but these games could go a little while. Yeah, no. They're
been
moving pretty quick. Yeah.
I want you to play another game because I'm burning calories just watching your brain.
Oh, I got counter-queued. Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
no.
Warrior this time.
That's the same guy. He counter-queued Warrior. Oh, gosh. So this matchup's really bad. I'm going to full mull for Wraths and Ramp. He's probably going to give me the greetings too, so just be prepared for that. Just be prepared. I might auto squelch. We'll see. We're going to reload these living roots because I doubt it'd be Control Warrior. So I'm going to put these down as 1/1s because they'll basically do their job. He might go N'Zoth's First Mate, which is kind of bad against it, but if he doesn't have N'Zoth's First Mate, it's important to get these down now. So it's a War Axe. Why would he War Axe a 1/1? That's kind of interesting. That must mean that he has the 2/3, and he's hoping to play the 2/3 and protect the 2/3 as much as possible. We're just going to Hero Power since we have no other play. And
that gives better value. That gives better value to the Feral Rage, right?
Yeah, for the most part. He plays the... Oh, he didn't have the 2/3, so he just might have like a really low-cost minion hand. So his plays have been really interesting to this point. Alright, so this is one of the matchups where we want to Raven Idol as soon as possible because we'll always know what we want to look for. We want to look for just like removal or anything like that. This is a really interesting point, like a really interesting take. Jade Idol gets a 1/1 on the board, which could be impactful, but Moonglade Portal is also healing. But it's a really hard take. I think I'm going to take the Moonglade Portal just for the sake that I don't think I'll be dropping Emperor on 6. I think I'll need the heal. And we don't need to use the Feral Rage yet. We're actually in a really good spot based off what his hand has been. We have to make sure we play around the 3/4 as much as possible, because if he gets an upgrade on that weapon, it's really bad for us. Okay, so that's we have a clean answer to this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, we also have another one of these, so we want to use this first.
Is that your 5 drop?
All of these are kind of bad. We don't have a 5 play, so we'll probably take the Force of Nature just to get minions on the board.
Yeah.
And we're going to clean up this frothing. So it's looking pretty straightforward now. We might actually get the chance to drop Emperor on 6, which would be kind of insane. That's a Corcoran. Oh, gosh. Here comes the face. That means he has Arcanite Reaper if he's swinging with the 3/1 weapon, which is not good for us. So we want to play... now we have a chance. Like, we have an option here. We play the 3/5, which contests the 4/3 a little bit more, but it dies the Arcanite Reaper. So the question is, do we want to try and save health, or do we want to guarantee that this 2/2 the 4/3 dies? And I think we want to guarantee the 4/3 dies. So we're going to go ahead and play this, because if we play the Fandral, he's just going to Arcanite Reaper it down because he's too scared of like cards like Feral Rage.
And there's the Arcanite Reaper.
He's not going to trade at all. He's just going to hit face. This is going to be a really good Moonglade Portal. We probably still are going to lose this game just because of like what's been going on. Oh gosh. We need to figure out a way to win this game. This is the combo right here. I don't think I can risk playing the Emperor Tharzan, so we're just going to heal up. That's actually really good for us. So we're going to do that. And,
yeah, that was very good.
Yeah, that was really good for us. We have to like live to Kun to armor basically, or try and kill him as quick as possible. But I don't think he's going to let us do that because that's a heroic strike hitting our face. Ouch.
Yeah.
Which means we have to fit a hero power in every turn to try and play around any potential damage. Oh gosh. Another play we could do is we're going to be going to... it doesn't make sense. I was going to say we're going to be going to 8 mana, so if we're Emperor, it would reduce like Aviana's cost, but that doesn't matter. We need a hero power return. So we're going to do this. We're going to leave maximum amount of minions on board. I don't have to worry about playing around that one card, and we take the trade here.
Okay.
We haven't set up lethal yet, which is kind of an issue, but we have to do the optimal plays to live. The winning play might have been to Emperor Tharzan, but we're just dead, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Straight up pirate.
Yep, that's what happens with Pirate Warrior.
Yeah.
They decided to go face, and then our hand was really greedy. As you can tell, it was basically our combo.
Yeah, that's all right.
At least we drew it this time.
That's right.
Yeah, we got to see what it could do.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. Again, we want to really thank you for being on the show. It was an honor to have you. I know our viewers and our listeners have been talking about it since we started talking about it. And they were really excited to hear what you had to say. And again, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to join us tonight.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me out. It's a real pleasure to get to play with y'all guys and to get to talk to y'all guys. I really appreciate y'all having me out.
All right.
You were welcome back anytime you want to come on. pimp yourself and make me tired by watching you play.
I'm going to go ahead.
Amazing.
I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to have you back as soon as you win in the Bahamas. It's just a given.
Sounds like a plan, man.
You heard it here.
All right,
Make
guys.
y'all proud. Don't worry.
Yeah. So we usually like to do last minute thoughts, just talk about the deck or anything we talked about in the show tonight. Zeroshio, what do you have for us this week?
I love seeing the high level play. You can definitely tell that Dr. Jikininki has a lot of experience planning out his plays with other people. He's doing a great job in TESPA. He obviously did a great job with the NA Winter playoffs by becoming the champion. I'm really excited to see him just flourish in the Hearthstone scene.
All right, Versika?
We are going to be watching with bated breath as we cheer you on to the championship. And I guess the only thing left to say is come summer when you're super famous and we're all down in Atlanta for DreamHack, don't forget about us.
I'll never forget. Don't worry.
Come out and have a meal with us or something. We would love to meet you in person, shake your hand, all that good stuff.
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
All right. Why don't you tell everybody one more time just where they can find you?
Y'all can find me at twitch.tv/DrJikininki. It's DrJikininki. Or at Twitter. The handle is DrJikininki, at DrJikininki. So that's where you can find me. Again, thank y'all guys for having me out. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad I got to play with y'all guys. I'm looking forward to possibly meeting y'all in person. Definitely looking forward to that drink, that Coke you're gonna buy me.
Yeah, there you go.
Definitely looking forward to that. Thank y'all guys again. I really appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's going to do it this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Do us a favor and please hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you haven't done so already, or give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. For more details on our Patreon, you can check out patreon.com/heropower. And until next time, good gaming.
Bye, guys.
All right.